Let's get a quick take on former Denver Press Club president and Colorado politics reporter John Ensslin passing away at the age of 65 this week. The veteran journalist covered Denver politics and had previously worked at the Rocky Mountain News as well as newspapers in New York and New Jersey. Patty Calhoun from Westward, it has been a really tough year at Colorado politics. We've lost some legends over there. This one hit a little bit deeper. What do you think?
Partly because John Ensslin was such a nice guy. So he was a big talent, but he had such a big heart. That's what I remember. He came to me 25 years ago when the press club was about to die, and they wanted to start the Damon Runyon Awards, and he was trying to bring together us with the Post and the Rocky Mountain News, bringing everyone together and putting on a show, which Damon Runyon would appreciate. And I think also Damon Runyon would have appreciated the character that John Ensslin was. He was a gentleman, he was a hard worker, he was a great journalist.
David Kopel from the Independence Institute and DU Law School. Ensslin made his own impact in politics. We don't have a lot of folks who've been covering politics as a reporter for so many years the way Ensslin did.
He knew their community very well, and he was an expert as a reporter. And to follow up on Patty's point, sometimes people think, well, who's the core of the Denver journalistic community? And you might think some guy who's on the, a host, an anchor on the evening local news. Well, that guy may be the most famous. But when you go to the heart, it was absolutely John Ensslin, because he was such a leader in the professional associations, behind the scenes, networking, helping people out, really trying to advance the craft. And he's one of those guys where you'd say his influence, of course, was what he did as in public, the stories he wrote, but there was so much additional influence behind the scenes in the many, many ways he worked to help other journalists be better.
And back to the table after a long respite, our very, very good friend, political analyst Penfield Tate. We know you want to be somewhere else right now, but we are grateful that you're back to join us, Pen. When you look at Enslin's career, one of the big races he followed was the mayor's race when you were running. Did you run into him there? What kind of interactions did you have with John Ensslin?
No, I had a chance to work with John a lot. Not only did he interview the candidates, but he was actually the moderator on several of the mayoral forums, and so we got to see him a number of times. I agree with everything David and Patty said, but beyond that, John was known as a political reporter who was fair, who was a straight shooter, but he was a tough interviewer. But he had a way of interviewing you and asking you hard questions and driving to the point without being loud and offensive and rude and just basically making it an unpleasant experience. You had to be on your P's and Q's, but you finished the interview and you kind of wanted to thank him for being there and interviewing you. That's sort of the way he approached it. He'll be greatly missed. And frankly, we were just blessed to have him as long as we did in filling the roles that he filled in the community.
And columnist with Colorado Politics, a colleague of John Ensslin, Lindh Bartels joins us. Lynn, it's great to have you here. I think I remember reading one of your pieces. You even had a lunch scheduled with John just a week from when he passed away. What's been the impact?
John and I sat side by side at the Rocky. We were both cop reporters, And the thing is, I don't think of John as a political reporter like you have all said, because I think of him as a storyteller. And when he came back in March, which he was so thrilled to come to Denver, to come back to the city he loved, then he got handed the mayor's race and he did stuff about Denver. But there's two things that have really struck me. Is one, if you had asked me pre-Monday, who are like some of the greatest journalists in Denver, I don't think people would have said his name. It was only after he died that people went, wow. He wasn't flashy, but he was the steadiest guy going. Also, two words over and over, nice and kind. Not many journalists are described that way. I don't think those were the two words ever used to describe me.
You've had a lot of other positive adjectives thrown your way, Lynn, but don't worry about that. But I think anybody would like to, at the end of their day, to be called kind and nice and a consummate professional. He will certainly be missed.